Hey, beautiful one. So, you're a perfectionist, like me. Hi. I've been online for 10 years, and finding your voice online is such a journey. And I want to share with you some of my lessons, my learnings, my insights onto how to actually find your voice online, especially when you're a perfectionist, when you're someone that overthinks a lot, when you maybe struggle making decisions and you often stay in the in between of what is it supposed to be? This video will bring you some comfort and some insights onto how to actually grow a personal brand, a business, owning your voice truly, and letting that be a discovery journey. So, if you're watching, you're maybe at the beginning of your journey or a couple years in, and there's still this constant question: what is it truly that I do? Who is it truly that I am? What is it that I truly should call myself? You know, the constant rewriting of the bio or changing your title or trying to position yourself differently, getting stuck in technicalities, overthinking your freebies. Maybe some of your content stays in draft for a while. Well, it's normal, it's part of the journey. But what I would say is finding your voice online is really a journey of being courageous and daring and bold. And it begins with giving yourself permission to not have a final product and stay in a beginner state of draft for a while and learn how to put those drafts out into the world. Now, as a high performing perfectionist, I used to, ooh, you just fell. You're back. I kicked you. You're good? Okay. As a recovering perfectionist, I used to overthink every single draft. In school, I remember some teachers would force us to write a draft before we write the final version, and I would not like that because I thought, well, my first version is going to be good. It's going to be perfect. I can put it out. I didn't like the concept of draft and letting the ideas simmer and letting the ideas take shape. I kind of had to get it right the first time. And that was a high standard, but it was also, in a way, teaching me about impatience and not giving my ideas and myself space to be a beginner or to grow or to thrive with the imperfection, with the messy, with the in between. And social media is a huge experiment. Anybody telling you they figured it out, they only figured out that whenever their experiment worked out. But there's so many conditions and reasons and layers to this that it might not work out for you. And that's why to find your voice online, you need to be willing to see social media as an experiment and let your voice be in the messy in between, in the beginner state, in the this isn't good yet and that's okay. Because to be honest, I look back at some videos and they're not that good. They were definitely draft state to the version of me I am today. But I had to let them go. I had to say, this is good enough. This is fine. This is okay. And working on that perfectionism is requiring a lot of vulnerability because you let people see you before you fully have control over how they perceive you. And that's the funny trap here because even with, creators I work with that have a bigger audience, you never have control. You never have control over how people perceive you, but we believe we do. We believe that if we work on something long enough, if we tweak it long enough, it will be perfect and then nobody can judge us. When in fact, people will judge, people will gossip, people will complain, people will love, people will not like something. And it's really a huge learning of I cannot control how people perceive me. I let it be so. I let them think the way they want about me. I let them feel the way they want about me. I let them be. And I let myself be too. And letting myself be means that I'm allowed to be messy and imperfect and stumble my words. When I started, I was a French native speaker. English was not my first language. I remember how many mistakes I would make. And some people would call me out. Some people would say, I spotted a mistake here in your text. This doesn't make sense the way you say it. Some of my first songs I wrote don't make much sense in some ways, but it made sense to me. And I had to give myself permission to make mistakes and to say, if I start obsessing over every word, if I start tweaking everything, I will spend hours on this and I won't get better at what I'm here to do. Some people from my university sometimes message me and they're like, how did you build such confidence in your voice? You used to be confident, yes, but it didn't feel as certain, as grounded as you are now. You know, the charisma or the magnetic energy on camera is 10 years of showing up online almost every single day. Plus, before that, 5 plus almost another 10 years of being a theater kid, putting myself out there in front of people, singing on stage, practicing my facial expression in the mirror because I had a dream of modeling back in the early teenage years. And so there's so much work behind effortlessness. And that work cannot be skipped. It cannot be collapsed into an overnight success. It can only be done through vulnerability of putting yourself out messily on repeat. And that's why permission, that's the first step. Permission to be messy, to be a beginner, to be in a draft state forever. You don't owe anybody a final version of your book. um, and in fact, there is so much beauty in trusting that whatever needs to be received will be received in its state that it is. And for anyone that's overthinking their draft, overthinking their stories, trying to edit themselves to be a certain way, I want to give you permission this week to try to say, what if it just is so? What if it's finished now? And I keep working on something else tomorrow. And over time, I'm becoming better and better. And my voice is becoming stronger and more magnetic. But I let it be. I let it go. And so for me, some of the things that helped me was setting myself a rule of time. So I only have this amount of time to post, and then I post it, even if it's not finished. Um, Creating some challenges of intensity so that you can teach yourself that it's not that scary. A couple of weeks back with my partner, we said, what if we did 150 reels a day? And it was an unreasonable amount, and we obviously failed. But you know what we realized? We realized we could do 14 in a day, 14 done and posted. And then in that moment, all of a sudden, posting 3 times a week felt like the easiest thing in the world, like a walk in the park. Because we only ever compare ourselves to how we've, accumulated data around what is the base, the norm, the foundation here. And we have a set point in our mind that either says this is hard or this is easy. This is something I can do or this is not something I can do. And for me, that benchmark has grown as I have grown, as I have allowed myself to challenge myself. And the more I challenge myself, the more I found ease, the more I found this intuitive flow. Because mastery is such a sneaky little thing. You see a master guitarist and you think, wow, they just fly on the guitar. You see a master at martial art or a master at speaking and you think, wow, they're just born with it. And yeah, of course, we all have innate gifts. I do believe that I'm born a singer and a speaker in so many ways. I stood on the stage, not on the stage, on the table in my living room at 2 years old, telling my mom to move me out of the kindergarten to somewhere else at the, at the young age of 2. And I already had a confidence and a natural ability in speaking and singing. And we all have a natural force within that is stronger in certain areas and certain elements. We can either lean in or not. But regardless of our natural ability, it will always take consistent, imperfect, messy leaps, putting ourselves out there again and again and again. And that's why to find your voice online, you need to challenge your assumptions that you can control how good something is and how done something is. And learn the art of letting go of your in between, your imperfect, messy creations. Your voice that is not yet confident, your house that is not yet there where you want it to be, your finances that are maybe not exactly where you want them to be. Like whatever in your life makes you feel a sense of I need to hide this or I need to wait until it's better before I can share myself online. It's just delay to something you cannot collapse. You cannot skip it. You cannot skip becoming yourself. And of course, that waiting is part of the growth journey. The writer that hasn't written in 10 years because they're scared, it's part of the growth journey. It's part of the unfolding of that future book. But there's a moment where you need to say, is my perfection something that I hold closer to my heart than my becoming, than my ability to fully discover how good it gets to be, how strong I get to be, how confident and courageous I get to be, how incredible people are meant to find me. If I had waited, I wouldn't be here today. And yet, today is the perfect day to start. Because there's nothing worse than telling ourselves we missed the boat, than telling ourselves it's too late for us. Again, the work is the work is the work. You can delay the start, but today is always the day to start. And the day you start is the day you find freedom and liberation in your voice, in discovering what is true to you and what isn't true to you. And as I shared in one of my videos from last week, you get to decide where the line is, where you draw the line in this is comfortable for me, this is not comfortable. This is a true expression of me, this is not a true expression of me, because authenticity is also not a fixed destination. Authenticity is a self discovery journey. Layers and layers and layers of discovering what is true and what is truer is the journey of putting ourselves out there. And to find your voice online, of course, I could tell you so many things, which I will in another video, but just as a quick right now, cut away the noise, get offline, go in nature, ask yourself, who am I meant to be? What am I meant to speak? What am I meant to share? What is it that I'm truly here to do? Why do I show up? Why do I care? What is the most incredible life I could create for myself? All these questions of self discovery are going to lead you to you. But the first step is permission. Permission to be messy, permission to be a beginner, permission to not exactly know where it will go, how long it will take. In fact, remove all timelines. We don't need to know how long it takes, or do we need to know the destination? I would have never known I would end up on a Greek island as a Canadian woman, madly in love with the love of my life, dreaming every day about what I'm here to create and empowering women worldwide to grow their brand and business the feminine way. It's a version of what I used to dream of, but it isn't exactly what I used to dream of. And I'm better for it because this life is incredible. And it took me to have a North Star that grows with me. So I always had a guidance. I always had a sense of I'm going in that direction, kind of, which is so important. Clarity is incredibly important because you see a glimpse of the direction of where you're meant to go. And therefore, you can take some decisions. But wherever you're going, showing up and having the courage to be someone that says, I'll find my voice, I'll find my way, asks you to not copy paste, to not look outside, to not try to be as cool as that other girl, to ask yourself, what does that mean to me? What do I want to say? And can I let it be not good right now because my future self will be so proud that I kept showing up in this messy draft in between state? Now that I'm older and wiser, I love drafts. And I actually believe that letting our ideas and our creativity simmer is an incredibly potent portal of expression. However, when it comes to showing up, having impact, finding your people, letting them find you, shining your light, being more of yourself, there is no better time than today and every day to stumble upon your becoming. And it's a process that is meant to be messy. It's meant to be something you'll look back at with a sense of, whoa, either extreme pride or a little shyness that you put this out because it was not that good. And yet, along the way, you'll find your people and you'll have some impact and you'll get stronger in your expression, in your creativity, and you'll make better and better work. And you'll realize that all along you had never control over how people perceived you. And so might as well let it go now. Might as well right now say, you know what? I let people be. I let them be entertained, which is my favorite sentence of all time. I let them be entertained. Like people get to be entertained by drama and gossip. Not everybody leads an extraordinarily exciting life, and so I let them be entertained. And I walk my way. I walk my path. Walk your path. Find your way. And you'll find your voice the more you dare to put yourself out there and feel within your body, was this me? Was this true to me? And keep showing up even through the messy. Yeah, this is probably going to be an ongoing series because there's so much to say. But for today, I'll just leave you with this permission to be messy. Your drafts are perfectly enough, and you'll find your voice the more you dare to experiment with all that you are in all the ways. I'll see you tomorrow. Just come say hi in the comments, in my DMs. Bye.